Hi, I'm going to be talking about spreading God's word, and I'm going to add a little historical context to it because I think that makes everything a lot easier to understand and a lot cooler. Because you can see how God works. God's just so cool. Okay, moving on. So we're going to start in Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. He created him in the image of God. He created them male and female. So keeping that in mind, God created man in his own image. And that is very cool. Like, God created us to look like him. Wild. And many people have spoke on this, I know, because I know this by heart, and I'm assuming many of you do too. However, it wasn't until someone brought in historical context that I quite understood what this would mean to audiences at the time when this was written. So we sometimes forget that the Bible is old, especially when reading it. It seems kind of like a no-brainer, but sometimes when you're reading it, you're like, this doesn't make sense. Why doesn't this make sense? Because it's very old, and culture has changed a lot. So when reading this, we think something very different than what the people at the time would think. Because the people at the time would think of statues and coins. Let me explain. So, at the time, in Egypt, Rome, Greece, around that, pharaohs and emperors, kings, would make statues of themselves and put their face on currency so that the citizens in the area, anyone traveling to that area, would know who the king, emperor, pharaoh was of that land, so that you knew who had dominion over that land. So there would be statues everywhere of this emperor's face or this pharaoh's face. There would be currency, so every time you bought something, you'd see the emperor or the pharaoh. Like, they made it very clear who they were. Now bringing that back to this, God created us in his image. Meaning that God created us as his statues, as his currency. So we are the image of God. So we are actively spreading God's message without trying. Really. Like, our face, our very existence is saying God has dominion over this land. God is king of this land. Like, our mere existence tells creation, we're here. God is here. God is present. And you can tell because of me. I am his image. And I am here to remind you that he is here. Isn't that so cool? That's just so, I just love that. So now we're going to skip to Isaiah 52. And we're going to go all the way down to 11 and 12. So this is, leave, go out from there. Do not touch anything unclean. Go out from her, purify yourselves. You who carry the vessels of the Lord. For you will not leave in a hurry. You will not have to take flight, because the Lord is going before you, and the God of Israel is your rear guard. So I know sometimes it can seem a little weird to want to spread God's word, because a lot of people have it in their minds, and I did for a very long time, that spreading God's word was kind of a sermon, or you had to be pushy about it. Just be like, oh, you're not a Christian? Well, let me tell you about, like, let me convert you. And it doesn't have to be like that. You can just add it in conversation. Like, oh, this is what we talked about in church this week. Or this is what I saw while reading the Bible. Isn't that interesting? I have thoughts. You want to discuss? Like, you want to talk about it? Or something along those lines. It doesn't have to be a sermon, and it doesn't have to be pushy. It can just be natural. Because it should be. And you can very easily make it natural. And I know I'm trying to work on that right now. So we can all go on this journey together. And I really love this passage because it's specifically saying the Lord is going before you. The Lord has laid the way. The Lord is protecting you on your way while you are spreading his word. He's with you. For the Lord is your rear guard, because he's protecting you actively while you're doing this, while you're spreading his word. He will be there. So things may go wrong. I'm not saying everyone's going to be 110% open about hearing about this, but God will be with you. All right, bye.